Hello, Buy Tennessee Dirt Team. My name is Brian Johnson, and I'm with Primis Mortgage, and I am one of your preferred lenders. So I wanted to take a moment to lay the foundation for everything that I do. So this is the mortgage process. As you'll see here, this is just a very quick crash course. There will be other videos that dig into specific loan programs and other topics that you can just bounce around and look at. But for now, we're just going to lay the foundation and just run through what the mortgage process is. So again, we'll start here. So there's just a couple steps. We'll keep this basic. So number one, pre-qualification or pre-approval. They somewhat mean the same thing. If I don't have any documents on anyone, I don't have pay stubs or anything like that, we just have maybe a quick phone call. Maybe I pull credit, but I just don't have any supporting docs. Maybe that's a pre-qualification. A pre-approval would be I have all of their supporting income documentation, and I have an underwriting preliminary approval, and then that would be a pre-approval. So this number one and part of number two is we're going to live here a lot, and this is where any everything happens prior to going under contract. So you go under contract around number two. Now sometimes we're not under contract, and I can get it processed and actually underwritten if it's an interesting file. Just to make sure we're all on the same page. But for the most part, I get someone pre-qualified, pre-approved. I get their income documentation, and we're here, and then they're good to go. They understand the game plan. They're fully pre-approved, and you all are out looking at houses. So that's where one and two happens. This is where a lot of the preliminary work happens. And once you find a house and you get under contract, that's where I jump into number two again, and I probably get some updated documentation, possibly pay stubs, bank statements, and then we immediately start the loan, meaning I add an actual address to the application, and that triggers an application. It triggers TRID technically. So I have 3 business days to send out their loan documentation. So once they e-sign their loan documents, I submit the file. My processor does technically, and my assistant. They submit it, so they process it and submit the file to underwriting, and then the underwriters underwrite the file. And at the same time, when it goes under contract, we also order the appraisal. So this is happening behind the scenes as well. So around number two, we get under contract. So I get the bound contract. At the same time, I order the appraisal, and then we start the file. We kick out their loan documents to e-sign, and they do that, and then we process that and submit it to underwriting. All of that can happen within a couple days if we move pretty quick. And then the underwriter, 9 times out of 10, will give us a conditional approval, which just means that you're approved with some conditions. For example, the appraisal is probably not even in yet. So one of the conditions would be a completed appraisal. Maybe we need an updated pay stub, or maybe we need them to explain XYZ on their bank statement. So after number 4, we get that conditional approval, and then we get those conditions. We might have to wait for the appraisal, things like that. And then after that, we get the clear to close, and that's where you move into the pre-closing and the closing and whatnot. And all of this can happen legally. You can close as fast as 8 days, and I've done many 8-day closings. The hardest part, the only third-party item, is just the appraisal. So if we want to move quick, we certainly can, as long as the borrower or the buyer is willing to move quickly and respond quickly. And then I just call and get a specific appraiser that normally rushes them for us. And then we typically have to pay an additional $150 to rush the file. But all of these steps technically can happen as fast as 8 days. Typically, you're going to see a 30-day turn time, maybe 45-day turn time to get through this entire process. And then you close, and then onward and upward from there. And this is also a flyer I can generate for y'all and co-brand for you. But hopefully that helps just lay the foundation for the pre-approval process all the way to closing. Now I'm gonna make some other videos for just the pre-approval, pre-qualification process. We can dig in a lot to all of these areas, but I think the pre-qualification bucket is where we'll spend the most amount of time, because that's where y'all are finding a lead. I'm getting them pre-approved. We're coming up with a game plan, and we're working in tandem to get them under contract. That's the hardest part. Once they're under contract, you kind of hand the file over to me. Y'all still do the inspection and you do a lot, but for the most part, all the heavy lifting then shifts to me as the lender, which is again where number 2 and number 3 come in. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know how I can assist y'all. Again, super thankful for this group. It's such a great group, starting with Aaron and Cassandra. Great leadership. Rock and roll. Talk soon. Thanks.